We continue with our coverage of Heritage Day. I am now joined in studio by our assignments editor, Olebogeng Kgosilentswe, to tell us about Newzroom Afrika's coverage of the day and what went into it. Olebogeng, before I get into it, I've been asking all our guests to introduce themselves. So, Olebogeng, who are you?
Dumela unati, na ke tshetlhana ya Motswana. Ha Motswana bokwa nka bo ke ipoka. Fela ka Setswana ga re bo ke motho re bo ka kgomo. Motho wa retwa, he re tologang kgeng, lunkutlwe. Jaaka ke kgwa ka tlha nna mosetsana wa morolong. Ke morolong o modiboa, ke motho wa ga sehuba le mokgopha. Ke tshwa kgomo lokekete bonna ke ba itshwere ka tlhogo le ditlhako.
If I could ululate, I would do that. That was fantastic. Thank you, Amogela, in the studio, Olebogeng. Now, Olebogeng, you are the machinery behind what we're seeing today in the Heritage Day coverage here on Newzroom Afrika. Tell us about just the depth and the planning that went behind what viewers are seeing as a dedication of Heritage Day, as a dedication of our heritage as South Africans, as Africans.
That's correct, Unati. So the beauty that you're seeing on screen is actually a reflection of the hard work that goes on behind the scenes. So it took many teams, it took months to plan today's heritage, it took a lot of time, sweat and dedication from our various reporters, from our various editors, from the ideas, from video editors and camera people. And it all culminated today with the specific goal of really celebrating South Africa and our resilience during the most difficult times that we've been through in the past couple of months. So today was all about, let us remember who we are, but let us also showcase our diversity, our beauty, even in the most difficult of times.
We'll talk about the intrinsic detail that went into the planning, even ending up with how I'm looking today a little later. But let's perhaps talk about this. South Africans want to celebrate their heritage on a daily basis. And perhaps the message that you and your team are trying to bring on board with this coverage is exactly that our heritage is important and it deems to be celebrated. And I mean, the work that went into it behind the scenes is truly reflective today of the hard work that you and your team did.
Absolutely, Unati. I mean, it's very important to realize that in as much as we go through adversity, in as much as COVID-19 has impacted on all of the country, all of the world, and particularly our industry and our news industries, where we have been at the forefront of telling the stories. It's important that we don't forget ourselves amidst the chaos, amidst the challenges that we face. But it's also important to remember that as South Africans, our culture is so diverse, our heritage is so diverse that in every single day, we can celebrate it in different ways. We actually don't have to wait for Heritage Day. But, I mean, it's a day, because it's a public holiday as well, it's a day that we saw fit to just bring it all together into one so that everybody can just sort of celebrate themselves in different ways, in the way that they're dressed, in the foods that they eat, in the stories that we are telling at Newzroom Afrika. So we've been telling a very beautiful stories right from the very beginning when we went live at 6 o'clock. We've told stories of the Cape Malayans, we've told stories of the Tswana people, we've told stories of Bavenda, Batsonga, and we continue throughout the day, right up until the very last show here on Newzroom Afrika, to remind South Africans of who we are, how strong we are, how beautiful we are, how beautiful our food is, and just sort of unwind and take it all in so that when we face tomorrow again, we are assured again of who we are and what we're capable of.
I love also how you describe our food, because it is actually beautiful before you actually taste it, because of the 7 colors, right? Now, the logistics behind placing the journalists in all those different provinces to cover as many cultures as possible. Tell us about what went into that.
It was not easy at all. We commit ourselves to delivering only the best of our work. So in between the ordinary stories that we tell every single day. The hard news stories, the breaking news stories. Our journalists were assigned to also start with the groundwork of various cultures that they come across within their various provinces and put it together. At the same time, being live to us on breaking news, being live to us on ordinary day-to-day stories. So you can just imagine that the hours that were put into today's broadcast were so many, the sweat that was put in, but mostly the pride that was put in, because we wanted really to reflect how proud we are to be South Africans, to be Africans. It took a lot of planning. Every detail was deliberately planned for South Africa to actually realize the work that we do as well and celebrate the work that we do as Newzroom Afrika. So it really took us a lot to do, but it's something that we've been passionate about, extremely passionate about. So when you're passionate about something, you don't tire. You continue to put in the work. You continue to put in the hours. On the technical side, it took a lot of editing work to do. It took a lot of camera work. It took a lot of different shots because obviously these stories are different from our normal day-to-day stories. And so we have to film them in such a way that we can depict dances, we can depict food, we can depict clothes. And so our teams really took the thing and ran with it, and we are so happy that today we are able to bring to South Africa this special broadcast. And
interesting when you say that teams took the idea and ran with it, and the passion that you speak of. It's actually true, because our wardrobe also took the effort, as well as our makeup. It just goes into the detail of how everyone is galvanizing to make this project a success. Just deciding on my dress today, I'm Xhosa. And this dress depicts colors that feature in the Xhosa culture, which is also something that was researched by our makeup department, which is phenomenal. And it just speaks to the passion that went behind this project. Speaking of passion, I know that you are studying our culture and our heritage in the academic space, which also speaks volumes to the work that you've done. So talk to us about that journey.
Before I get into that, let me also, because it's linked, let me also speak about how our social media teams also contributed to today's broadcast in incorporating citizens at home to tell us about izithakazelo zabo, who they are, to express themselves. So it went a long way, and it ties in with my studies, in that I'm studying towards a master's degree in indigenous languages and social media. So basically, I want to research and find out if whether or not, if we as news editors speak deliberately to our audience in the language that they understand, which is their mother tongue, will it make a difference or will it not? Will people hear us better if we speak to them in their mother tongue? Will they interact with our news better if we speak to them in their mother tongue? So that also speaks to just the kind of work that we do here at Newzroom Afrika. So we intertwine.
So I want you to hold it on there, Olebogeng, because you speak about how society at large, the communities came to the party and gave us izithakazelo zabo, which is fantastic, and we're going to go into that in a moment. But I have to put in a disclaimer, because mna ndingumXhosa, but I also grew up in a Tswana background. I can speak Afrikaans. Yeah, I can Afrikaans praat. I can speak English, and I can speak a little bit of Sotho and Tswana. So my accent is not going to be great, but here we go. We're going to try and do that. So to make this day special, we asked you to text us your clan names, popularly known as izithakazelo. So here we go. Let's see what some of you had to say. All right, our first one is from Pilasande Sikaba, and he goes on to say, Ukatyani umamali undondela inkomo ezibomvu nywabe msengana niko kelembana. And the next one is from our very own Sipiwe Sithole. And I'm just going to briefly go through this, and it's in isiZulu. Sithole jobe, machana, mondise, mapita. And the next one is from Umlangeni, and it's very interestingly in Iswati. Mncube losinduvo, netinyawe take. Nandzela, langa liyashona emancubeni, mtsufo mswati. Wena wamagwamagwama, and that is from Mlangeni. I'm not doing a very bad job. And the next one is from Zakele Nsibande from Newcastle, and I think this is another Zulu one. Izithakazelo zakiti kwa Nsibande. Goje mdlanyoka, phangela, gojagama. And the last one from our very own Buhle Madulini, and it's in Ndebele. Ntumbeza machecha nojila. Sikisumlomo emlanjeni boya benyathi donga lolalimpi. And that's the end of it. Fantastic. Fantastic izithakazelo, not only from our community members, but also from people here in the newsroom, which just again goes to how passionate we are about, our country and our heritage. Because you're studying, just the culture and heritage of South Africa and making sure that people actually go back, to understanding their heritage. How important does it become then as an assignments editor, when you, especially an assignments editor within the context of South Africa, especially given the time and space that we're at now. I mean, we're not in a very good space as South Africa. We're not in a very good space as Africans or globally for that matter because of COVID-19, but other domestic issues that come into play. How important was it for you that today left a feel-good, kind of feeling for South Africans to take pride in who they are and in themselves?
It has been very important, Unati, because we are living, as you just said, in very difficult times. We've been surrounded by a lot of death, a lot of illness, a lot of job losses, so many things that actually led to somewhat of a depression. So for us to walk out of today feeling good is very important, and more importantly, because we feel good about who we are. There's nothing as better than feeling great and appreciating yourself for who you authentically are. So, and that's precisely one of the goals that we were heading to as we were planning this broadcast for today.
Final question before I let you go. What does Heritage Day mean for you?
It's interesting that you asked me that, because you will see that even though I am a Motswana woman, not a Tswana woman, a Motswana woman, I am dressed to represent and embrace the Batsonga culture. And some of the people that I've been interacting with on social media, let me just say that the responses have actually shown me that we still have somewhat of a long way to go in accepting and embracing each other. But for me, my heritage means it's something that I celebrate every day. I speak my language every day, and I'm proud to speak my language. The food that I eat is something that I celebrate as well. But basically, being a South African, we are so diverse that it is very difficult to box us into one. I, for one, am a descendant of Umtungwa, Undabezitha, Umzilikazi, Umashobali. My father is a descendant of the Germans. My mother is a Motswana. So how do I box myself into one position and say I am this? So I celebrate my heritage holistically, and I celebrate with people of all cultures and of all backgrounds.
Fantastic, and that's why I love the saying that I might have been born in Africa, but Africa is born within me.
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Olebogeng, for that fantastic overview of what we have done on Newzroom Afrika and continue to do throughout the month of September.